Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to yet another episode in Inner Guide program. In life, when we are studying, normally we experience this special feeling most of the time. Sometimes when we are studying and when we are facing exams especially, we may find the times and moments that we forget everything that we have studied. Have you ever experienced that? If you are a student, I think most of you have experienced this special feeling. In the middle of the exam, when you come across a question, you try to memorize the thing, that special thing that you have studied, but nothing comes to your brain, nothing comes to your head. It feels like suddenly everything has been vacuumed off. Have you ever felt that? I think most of us have felt that experience. Our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, taught us there are 5 reasons for the forgetfulness. There are 5 reasons for being forget that what we have studied. So what are those 5 reasons? These are called 5 hindrances. In Pali language, in the Buddha's words, it is called pancha nivarana. When you take the word nivarana, the exact meaning of the word nivarana means there is something covering up your mind, right? That means these things cover your mind. It's like you put your mind inside a polythene bag, right? When you put something inside a polythene bag and you tie it tightly, and if you kept it under running water, does the thing or the special object that is inside that polythene bag get wet? It doesn't get wet because the polythene bag has been covered all over, right? It does not permit to the water to go inside. Same as that, our mind can be covered by certain thoughts, right? When our mind is obsessed with certain thoughts, nothing will come inside to our mind. The things that we study will be forgotten. So these are called the 5 hindrances. In the Buddhist word, they are called pancha nivarana. The first hindrance to the mind is, Supreme Buddha said, kama chanda. Kama chanda means the sensual desire, sensual craving, right? If you are thinking about the craving thoughts, lustful thoughts inside your mind while you are studying, right? The things that you study will never go inside to your mind. You will never memorize them. Why? Your mind is obsessed with those lustful thoughts. Imagine a situation when your mind is full of lust. Normally we cannot think about the good and bad. Normally we are not in the real consciousness. Our mind is somewhere else thinking about those lustful and pleasurable thoughts. When our mind is in that arena, right? When our consciousness, awareness is in that arena of our mind, the lust, inside the lust of our mind, nothing will come inside the mind, right? Though we study, though we are inside a classroom, right? Though your physical body is inside a classroom, your mind is somewhere else. So therefore, you will never remember anything that you studied. Okay? That is called the first hindrance, the sensual desire. Number 2, vyapado. Vyapado means the anger. When you are angry, when your mind is full of anger, can you think about anything out of that? No, because your mind is full of anger, right? Your mind is heated with anger. If you're studying with an angry mind, with a mind which is full of hatred, nothing will remember. You cannot remember anything that you studied. So that is the second hindrance to your mind. Number 3, Supreme Buddha said, the sleepiness. That is called Thena Midda, the sleepiness. Now, when you're being in the class, when you're studying in the class, normally when you're studying, most of the students feel sleepy and lazy. When you're studying with sleepiness and laziness, you will never remember anything that you studied. Because your mind is filled and your mind is occupied with sleepiness. It is covered with sleepiness. When the sleepiness covers your mind, the things that you study will never go inside. Right? So that is the third hindrance. Number 4, Supreme Buddha said, Uddacha Kukkucha, restlessness and remorse. There are some times that our mind is becoming restless. It will become distracted, right? So many thoughts will pop up inside our mind in such times. And also, sometimes we regret about the things that we have done in the past, right? When you're regretting about the things that you have done in the past, and when your mind is restless, remember, you cannot remember anything that you study, right? You will never remember anything that you study because your mind is occupied by the restlessness and remorse. It is covered with that. When the restlessness and the remorse cover your mind, nothing will go inside, right? If you try to meditate, nothing will happen. If you try to study, nothing will happen. No progress. And the final hindrance, it is called the doubt. If you have doubt about yourself, whether I can do this or not, will I do this or not? When you're studying, if you are doubting about yourself, if you have doubts about yourself, your success, you cannot remember anything. Because you are thinking about yourself as a low person, right? So you don't think about yourself as a low person, right? And do not think about yourself in a higher level, right? Do not overestimate yourself and also do not underestimate yourself. You should live moderately. When you are studying, always think, I am studying as I can, in the best form and in the best way that I can. Right? Do not compare yourself with others, because the more you compare yourself with others, you will start to doubt about yourself. When the self-doubt covers your mind, nothing that you study will go inside your mind. Right? So when you are studying, what you have to do, you have to stay away from these hindrances. Number 1, sensual desire, sensual craving. Number 2, anger. Number 3, sleepiness. Number 4, restlessness and remorse. And number 5, the self-doubt. If you stay away from these 5 factors, these five evil thoughts, remember, always the things that you study will go inside your mind. You can take it out anytime, anywhere from your mind, because it is well established inside your mind. You're well focused to the studies, you're well focused to the things that you study, and all the things that you will study will absorbed by your mind. So how to stay away from these evil thoughts? I have to share the remedy for these evil thoughts. Supreme Buddha said the best medication, the best medicine for these evil thoughts is the meditation. Right? Try to calm your mind through meditations. Now, most of the younger generation, as you, are not so much focused to the meditation. Remember, if you are a student, if you are a human being, no matter what, you have to calm your mind. You have to practice to make your mind serene. So the best thing that makes your mind serene is the meditation. Right? So start meditating at least about 5 minutes a day. It is best to meditate early in the morning, soon after you get up, refresh yourself, sit for 5 minutes and do some meditation. You can do breathing meditation. You can stay being aware of your breathing pattern. It will calm down your mind. And also you can do loving kindness meditation. You can spread love and kindness to yourself and to the others. These meditations are common and known meditations by everyone. So you can do that. Right? If you start meditating, you will feel that your mind is serene and peaceful. The more your mind gets peaceful, the more you will remember what you study. So when you are studying, it is very essential. It is much more important to maintain a serene and calm and concentrated mind. So for that, you need to practice meditations little by little, step by step. Okay, so do some meditations for at least 5 minutes a day, and when you do these things, your mind will start to stay away from these 5 hindrances. So when your mind starts to stay away from these hindrances, you will feel that you can remember everything that you study. So make your life a peaceful one. Make your mind a peaceful place through the meditation. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. In today's video, let's talk about how to control our negative emotions and how to control our mind. Well, the nature of our mind is it always likes to wander in negative emotions and negative thoughts. Negative thoughts like anger, desire or lust, or then jealousy, maybe resentment. These are the negative thoughts that our mind likes to wander in. So how can we control it? Well, our great teacher Supreme Buddha introduced us a gradual training where you can practice this controlling of negative emotions or negative thoughts in your mind. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce them to you. So first and foremost, before getting into these steps, there is one thing that you have to practice, and there is one thing that you have to master, and that is awareness. If you are not aware of what you're thinking, if you are not mindful about what you're thinking, then you cannot control it. So you have to totally understand and you have to totally be aware of what you're thinking. Okay? So whenever you become aware of what you're thinking, then you will have that power to control it. So here comes the first step. Buddha says, whenever you become aware of your mind is wandering in negative thoughts like anger or lustful thoughts or resentment or jealousy, the first thing is to shift your thought pattern to something wholesome. There are some wholesome thoughts in your mind which makes you peaceful. Maybe like thinking of something that you have done in the past, like maybe you helped someone. Whenever you think that thought, your mind becomes happy and peaceful. So what you're going to do is, whenever you become aware of your negative thoughts, we're going to shift our thought pattern to something that is wholesome, something that makes us peaceful. So that is the first thing that Buddha says. Shift your thoughts to wholesome thoughts. If that first step did not work out, then what you have to do, go for the next step. What is that? Buddha says, think about the disadvantages of thinking negative emotions, right? If you are constantly having angry thoughts, then you have to think, these thoughts are hurting myself and others. If I take actions according to these thoughts, it will hurt myself and the others. Remember, it may be a little thought of anger, but if it grow up, what will happen? It will be destructive. So what do you have to do? Think about the drawbacks or disadvantages of thinking these negative thoughts. Then, whenever you see these disadvantages, your mind will tend to stay away from these negative thoughts. Most of the time, we are not aware of these disadvantages. Okay? So what do you have to do? Think, if I keep on thinking these negative thoughts, it is not going to help me. It will disrupt my peacefulness. Right? That is the second step. Then as the third step, Buddha says, pay no mind, pay no attention. If the second step did not work out, go for the third step, to not to pay any attention to that thought, right? See, whenever we give so much attention to something, maybe a thought, it grows again and again, it grows more, right? For an example, if you became angry with someone and if you keep thinking about him again and again and becoming angry, that anger will grow more and more. So what do you have to do? We have to let the thought be a thought without paying much attention, right? When you just stay away from giving attention, then it will fade away from your mind. It's something like this. Have you seen little babies, when they fall down, they start to cry, right? If the parent or the mother or father see that it is not a big deal of falling, if mother or father did not give any attention to that baby, what does he do? He just don't care about that. He will stop crying. Same thing goes with our mind. If we did not pay any attention to that thought, right? If we did not care about that thought and just let it go and let it pass away from our mind, then it will fade away. That is one way of doing that. If the third step did not work for you, then the Buddha says, go for the fourth step, to relax your thought process, right? Now remember, when you think negative thoughts, your mind becomes so much busy, so much rough and distracted. So, what you're going to do is, you're thinking, why am I thinking these distractive thoughts, these negative thoughts that are making me so much busy and making me distracted, right? So, what you're going to do is, you're relaxing your thought process to something very soft and subtle. Maybe like loving kindness, maybe like compassion, right? Maybe like gratefulness. When you think those thoughts, when you think more positive thoughts, your mind or your thought process becomes so much relaxed. And then if the fourth step did not work for you, then it comes the final step. This is something that we have to do with a great care. I do not recommend for everyone to do this. This should be done with a great experience and a good practice, right? And that is to crush your thought with awareness, right? You have to be totally aware of your thinking pattern and have a good determination to your mind that I am not going to think these negative thoughts, right? But this should not be done by everyone, right? Some may be not good at this, right? If you keep on becoming aware and if you keep on forcing this mind, it will grow more and more these negative thoughts. So if all those four steps did not work for you, then you have to go for the final step, right? So it is much better to practice these 4 thoughts before doing the final one. Okay, so practice these things. When you practice, you will feel and you will understand that your negative emotions are fading away little by little. Remember, this is not going to happen overnight. It will take a long time to do this, but you have to keep on practicing, keep on doing it, make it a habit, and then you will become a master of it. So practice this practice and make your mind a place where free from negative thoughts. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to yet another episode in Inner Guide Q&A program. Today, we are going to discuss about a question that has been mentioned in the comments. The question is how to remain peaceful and calm under stressful situations. Coming right up. Stressful and difficult situations are the situations that we all have faced in all of our lives. But many of us face these situations in an unsuccessful way. Under difficult circumstances, under stressful situations, we become depressed, sad, and anxious. So, how to remain calm and how to maintain your inner peace under these circumstances? So, first of all, we have to know and we have to learn and we have to observe what is the situation. Remember, there is a common nature in all the experiences and situations that we face in our life. What is this? What is that common nature? That is called the impermanence. Whatever we encounter and whatever we experience in our life, soon after that has been experienced, it becomes impermanent. Isn't that right? Yes, it is. Now imagine someone is complaining to you about a mistake that you have done or maybe you haven't done, right? So he's yelling at you, right? So in that moment, when the people complain and blame at us, we become depressed, we become sad. But what is the nature of that situation? What is the nature of those words, those rude words? Now soon after we hear them, they become impermanent, right? Soon after you hear them, they will no longer prevail in our life. They are gone. That means everything that we encounter in our life, experience in our life, they become impermanent. That is the nature. But the real problem is that our mind clings to those experiences, and there's a nature in our mind that it creates again and again those experiences inside. Now, for an example, as I mentioned before, when someone blames us, right? Now we know that soon after that we got the blame, the words are gone, they have become impermanent. But what our mind does, it creates those words again and again. We think those rude words again and again, and we become sad and depressed. But the real nature is, those words are gone. They have become impermanent. Right? So that is the nature. Understanding about the impermanence. Understanding that these experiences and all the things that we face in our life are impermanent is very important to face or to be calm in a difficult situation. Because you know the nature. That is the first step. We need to understand that each and everything that we face in our life is impermanent. right? Whether you face a terrible time, it will become impermanent. It will be changed. There will be a good day. Whether you face a good time, a happy time, and a wonderful time, that will also become impermanent. That is the nature. So first of all, you need to understand about this. The world is impermanent. Our life is impermanent. Nothing is permanent in this world, not even your problems. First step. And the second step, whenever you are in a difficult situation, whenever you are in a terrible moment, you need to practice some practices or to do something to remain peaceful and maintain your peacefulness and think of a solution to solve this problem. So how to do that? Now, many of us, during the difficult situations, we become panicked. We freak out. So it is the best thing to do during a difficult situation is to do some practices to calm our mind. So what we can do to make our minds calm? The best thing that you can do to make your mind calm and peaceful is do some meditation. Right? Do a little bit of a meditation during that stressful situation. So how to do that? The easiest meditation that you can practice within a stressful situation is to contemplate on your breath. Now, breath is an amazing thing. It changes according to the situation. Isn't that right? So when we are in a terrible moment, right? When we are in a dangerous moment, what is the nature of our breathing pattern? It becomes fast and it becomes shorter. We take short and fast breathing patterns, right? So what is the nature of our breathing pattern? That when we go to sleep, what do we do normally? I think most of you have experienced this. When you go to bed and when you lie down, you take a deep breath in and let it go. That is a sign that your body shows that you are going to rest. So if you need to become peaceful and serene and tranquilized, you need to restructure your breath. So in a difficult and terrible and stressful situation, just take deep breaths in. You can do it. Breathe in deeply and let it go. And contemplate on the pattern of your breathing. Now you can do this, but this needs a little bit of a practice. Right? You cannot do it without a practice. First of all, you need to practice this. Now some people may question, now I cannot do this in a difficult situation. Yes, you cannot do it because you don't have that practice. First of all, you need to practice this contemplation and this practice where there is no stressful situations. Right? That is the thing. The nature of these practices is that if you do it whenever there is no problem, then it will help you to practice that way or the situation or that remedy during a stressful situation. There's a great saying that it says, if you sweat during the times of peace, you will bleed less during the times of war. That means if you practice during the times of peaceful situations and where there is no stressful situations, it will help. That practice will help you to face the difficult situations. So, practice at least 5 minutes a day to contemplate on your breath. right? You can feel the way that you are breathing, right? It will help you to tranquilize your mind. Supreme Buddha said, Vitakku pachedaya anapana sati bhavetappa. If you need to stop the chattering mind, if you need to stop the thoughts that are popping up all the time that inside your mind, just practice the anapanasati, or which we call the breathing meditation. Just contemplate on the breathing meditation. When you contemplate your mind on this breathing pattern, right, you're focusing your mind to inhale and to the exhale. That means your mind jumps from one thought to another, but there is only two thoughts: inhale and exhale. You're not thinking about anything else, right? That means you reduced thousands and millions of thoughts to two thoughts. So that is a big thing. So if you do it as a practice, you will feel that your mind will become more and more peaceful and tranquilized. So whenever you face a difficult and stressful situation, try to take deep breaths, few deep breaths in and let them go. And it will make you feel better, right? So if you need to face a difficult situation, if you need to face a stressful situation successfully, you have to be ready for that situation where there is no stress. So that is how you face the difficult situations without being distracted. And also, as an extra thing, you have to practice the love and kindness. And also, you have to practice the forgiveness. If you can practice these great qualities like compassion, love, and kindness, especially forgiveness, you can maintain your peacefulness. Because when you forgive people, as an example, when you forgive people, that means you are letting go of them, right? The more you forgive, the more you will feel the peacefulness within. But forgiveness does not mean that you are going to fall into the same trap again and again for them. You forgive for yourself, and you know that person, and you can stay away from them in a positive way, and you can still be kind to them. Because kindness and forgiveness starts within your heart, and it will help you always. So practice these practices in the times where there are no stress and disturbing situations. And one day, when you master them, one day you can maintain your peacefulness within yourself without being distracted. Namo Buddhaya, Thiruvan Saranai. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. In today's video, let's talk about how to stay focused during studies. Well, this is a question that most of the students ask from us. Bhante, how can we stay focused in studies? I am easily becoming distracted. My mind is wandering here and there. So how can I concentrate my mind to studies? Well, first of all, let me ask you a question. Do you become distracted when you listen to your favorite song? Are you easily distracted when you watch your favorite movie? Whenever you are doing something that you mostly like, that you have the passion with, do you become distracted? No, you don't. You're well concentrated into that. So, what is the first secret behind this focusing power? Passion. Whenever you like something, your mind is focused to that. So the first step of building the focus to anything is to develop the passion or the desire to do that. So that is why they say that do what you love or love what you do. So maybe it is for the studies, maybe it is for meditation. If you have the passion, you will be well concentrated. If you do not have the passion, if you did not like what you're doing, then your mind is going to be distracted. So the first step is creating the passion towards it. So the second step of creating the focus is to be happy with little achievements, like little focusing times. Whenever you study, whenever you meditate, you may have little times of focus. You may be concentrated for 10 seconds, or maybe 15 seconds, maybe 30 seconds, maybe 1 minute. What you have to do is you have to be happy with that. The thing that is with us is we are expecting many big things in our life, but we are not happy with little things in our life. So what you have to do, whenever you are focused, maybe for 10 seconds, say, I am happy with that. Admire it, right? Without that, you cannot create the focus. So admire your little achievements. That is the one thing that you have to do. And the next thing is you have to reduce your distractions. Notice what you become distracted. Maybe social media, maybe your mobile phone, maybe something that you think of, right? So what you have to do, reduce those distractions. Stay away from those distractions, right? If you start to study, if your phone is distracting you, what do you have to do? Keep that away for a little while, right? Whenever you reduce or whenever you stay away from the distractions, your mind become well focused. That is another thing that we can do to create the focus in our mind. And also remember, focusing power is not an act. It is a practice. It is a habit. So what do we have to do? We have to practice this focusing power or this concentration again and again. How to do it? So whenever you are studying, if you notice that your mind is wandering here and there, maybe in several thoughts, right? But when you notice it, when you become aware of it, take back that distracted mind to your focusing point. Maybe to studies, maybe to meditation. Take it back. It may stay in the studies for a little while. Your mind may stay in the studies for a little while. Then it will become distracted again. That is the nature of our mind. So what do you have to do it again? You have to take it back and start to study. When it is distracted, take it back to the studies and keep on studying. When you do it over and over again, what happens is it creates this power of habit. Then you can create the focusing power in your studies. So these are the little things that we can practice to create more focus. And also, before studying, before you do anything that needs your focus, just meditate a little while. Maybe just close your eyes and focus on your breathing pattern, your in-breath and out-breath, right? When you focus your mind to that, we give that message, or we give that signal to our mind that now you should be concentrated, you should be focused. So when you practice these things, your mind will little by little get used to be focused. So practice these little practices and make your life a better one. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to yet another episode in Inner Guide Q&A program. Now it's been a long time that we haven't done a Q&A session. So today we are going to answer one of your questions. Someone has mentioned in the comments that it said that what to do when the life is becoming unfair, and what to do when life is not going in my way. Well, we are going to talk about this today. First of all, remember the nature of our life. What is the nature of our life? Life is a little bit unfair. That is the real nature. But the problem is we expect that everything in our life to be perfect and to be fair. That is the problem. That is where the real problem is. Because Buddha said, if you have expectations, if you have more and more expectations inside yourself, chances are very high for you to feel so stressed. So remember that expectations stands for suffering. If you expect the life to be fair, you will suffer, right? So the nature of our life is, it is a little bit unfair. So how to face such situations, how to face unfair situations in our life? Well, I want you to do 3 things when you face tough situations in your life, right? These are very simple, but yet when you practice it, it is very hard to do that, but you can achieve it. Number 1, first of all, you need to realize what the situation is. That is the first thing that you have to do. If you're going through a hard time, right, you need to analyze about that and see what the problem is. Well, there are 2 types of situations in our life. What is that? First type of situation is the situations which are in our control, experiences which can be changed by ourselves, right? And the second type of situation is the situations which are out of our control. We cannot do many things about that situation, right? So these are the 2 types of situations that we go through in our life. So first of all, you need to analyze and you need to see what the problem is, whether it is in my control or out of my control. Right? When you realize about the situation, then you can do something about that situation. Okay? That is the first thing you have to do. Analyze the situation. Number 2, if it is a situation that is in your control, just do something to change that situation. So what are the things that are in our control? What are the situations and experiences that we face in our life and which are in our control? Well, if you face a bad time, if you face a stressful situation because of your own faults, because of a mistake that is within yourself, then you can change it. Because we own our mistakes. We are the owners of our mistakes, and the mistakes can only be changed by ourselves. No one can change that. Someone can advise you, someone can show you the path, but no one can make it correct than you. So what you have to do, you have to change the situation. If it is your mistake, correct it. If it is your fault, then do something about it to change that situation. So these are the things that are in our control. Remember. Here's the third one. When we face the situations that are out of our control, how to face that situation? Well, these are the situations we spend most of our time trying to change that, but we cannot do anything about that situation. So what are the situations which are out of our control? There are many things, right? Criticism is out of your control. People's opinions, they are out of our control. How people behave in front of you is totally out of your control. They are their choices, not your own choice. But we try to change these situations and we become so sad and depressed trying to change, and we find that we cannot change this situation. So if you cannot change the situation, what you have to do? You have to change your perspective about the situation, right? You can change the perspective about the situation, because the perspective and the way you see that about that situation is totally in your control, because your thoughts are in your control, right? So what you need to do is, if you cannot change the situation, change the perspective, change the way you see about that situation. Okay? So remember, when people act weird in front of you, when people try to make you angry, when people criticize you, right? When people give unwanted opinions about you, just think, these things are out of my control. I should not waste my time of my life to change these situations. It is much better to change my perspective about this situation. So how can you change the situation? How can you change the perspective? You can be kind to them, right? You can maintain a positive mindset inside you, right? It is much better to maintain a positive mindset daily, every day, right? Listen to some things, positive words every day. It is much better to do that, because the more you listen to the positive words, positive ideas, right? Then the more you become positive inside, right? Then you can change your perspective about the situation. That is what you can do. Always remember what Buddha said. It is a nice quote that Buddha said that describes about the life. Buddha said, "Achinti tampi bhavati, chinti tampi vinasati." That is one of the greatest and one of the nicest quotes that Buddha have told about the life. In life, Buddha said, "Achinti tampi bhavati." Most of the times, unexpected things happen. Isn't that true? We don't know what will happen in the next time, right? It is a mystery. So in life, always unexpected things happen. And the things that we expected will going to be destroyed, right? If we expect something, we don't get the same thing. That is the thing. So remember that quote that was said by the Buddha. Achinti tampi bhavati, chinti tampi vinasati. Right? And there's another quote that was said by the Buddha. Sadharanang vihanyanti. If you expect the life to be fair, chances are more that for you to suffer in your life. So live with less expectations, right? If you are going through a tough situation, just analyze the situation, realize about the situation, and if you can change the situation, do something about it. If you cannot do it, something about the situation, change your perspective. That is what you can do when the life is not going in your way. So make your life a peaceful one with the teachings. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to yet another episode in Inner Guide Q&A program. Now in today's video, we are going to learn how to correct a mistake that has done by a person without hurting their feelings. First of all, we all have to know that we all are humans and we make mistakes. We all make mistakes, right? You, I, we all are the people who are making mistakes. For sometimes, when we are dealing with people, when we live with people around us, we will see that the people around us are making mistakes. They do wrong things. Sometimes they may be the people who love you most. So in such times, we have to correct them. We have to show the correct path and we have to put them into the correct way. But when we do that, we do it in an unsuccessful way. Most of the time, we use anger, resentment, we use punishments to correct people. Remember, when you use anger, when you use the punishments, when you use the resentment to show the correct path to people, they will never correct their mistakes, right? Because when someone's mind is in anger, right, he cannot understand what is good and what is bad, what should be done and what should not be done. So there is a way, and there is a proper way to correct a mistake of a person. So how to do that? Now this way was taught by our great Arahant Sariputta. Our great Arahant Sariputta says that you need to establish 5 things inside your mind before reproving someone or before correcting a mistake that has done by a person. So what are these 5 things? Number 1, remember, you need to speak at the proper time. That means you need to show the mistake of that person at the proper time. So what is the proper time to show a mistake to a person? Remember, never show a mistake to a person when that person is in anger. Because when your mind is in anger, you cannot know what is good and what is bad and what should not be done and what should be done. Therefore, you need to wait until that person cools down, right? Don't show the mistakes to people when they are in anger. They will never correct their mistakes, right? That is the first step. And the second step, never show mistakes to people in public, right? When that person is surrounded by some other people, never talk about their mistakes. Why? Because in these days, people have a bigger personality, right? People show a big image to the society, right? You have a Facebook account, you have an Instagram account, you are on social media, and you show something to this society, and you think that you are a person and you are like a kind of a person in this society. So when you show a mistake of that person in front of others, right? When you complain to that person in front of people, remember, you are not only damaging his mind, you're damaging his personality. Remember, damaging to one's personality is one of the most dangerous and most worst thing that a human can undergo. Therefore, never show the mistakes to people in front of others. If you want to show a mistake to a person, talk to them privately, right? Bring him under a shade or maybe a calm and quiet place and talk to them, right? They will like to hear that, right? So never show the mistakes to people in front of others. So that is the proper time. And the second thing, Arahant Sariputta said, you need to speak truthfully, right? That means you need to complain to the person that has done the mistake exactly, not to other people. Because sometimes, because of the misunderstandings, because of miscommunications, we complain to the people who have not done any mistake, right? We make false accusations. When someone is going through a false accusation, it is very hard for that person. Remember. Therefore, before complaining to someone, before showing a mistake to a person, find that exactly has this person done this mistake or not. Okay? So you need to be truthful. You need to find whether this person has done this mistake or not. Do not make false accusations. That is the second one. Number 3, Arahant Sariputta said, you need to speak gentle words. Never use harsh and rude words to explain the things to people. to explain the mistakes to people, right? When you use the hard and rude words like the words of anger, right, they will shut their ears, they will shut their eyes. They don't like to hear the rude words. In case no one likes to hear rude words, right? Therefore, if you need to explain a mistake that has done by someone else, then speak kind and gentle words, right? Speak heartwarming words. Then they will start to hear that, because we have a higher sensitivity to love and kindness. Therefore, use the words of love and kindness to explain the mistakes to people. Then they will correct their mistakes. And number 4, Arahant Sariputta said, you need to speak in a beneficial way. Remember that. That means when you are speaking and when you are explaining that mistake to that person, you need to give that feeling that this person, the reason why this person is explaining this mistake to me is because he loves me, right? He wishes the development of me. That is why he's showing this mistake to me. You need to give that feeling to that person. So how to give that? So there's a way to show a mistake to a person. There's a way to complain about a mistake to a person. It's like this. First of all, you need to talk to that person privately. And first of all, in the first step, what you have to do is you need to give a value to that person. Let's say, for an example, one of your co-workers made a mistake. Now you have to show that mistake. So first of all, you need to give a value to his profession. You need to give a value to what he's doing in a company, right? First of all, you need to say, you are doing a great job in this company. You have a great value. You give a great value to this company, right? When you're praising that person, he will open their eyes and ears. And then in the second step, you need to show the mistake, but you have done this mistake, right? You're doing this mistake. Because of doing this mistake, because you're doing this mistake, there is a huge disadvantage for the company as well as for you. You have to explain like that. Then after that, after explaining the mistake to them, as the third step, again, you need to give a value to his profession. Or you need to give a value to his life, right? You are doing a great job, so do not do this mistake again. You need to correct this. If you explain the mistake in that way, remember, everyone who you need to show the mistakes will correct their mistakes, right? And in the final thing, right? The final thing, Arahant Sariputta said, you need to speak with a heart of loving kindness, right? Not while harboring the hatred thoughts. Because so many people show the mistakes to other people, right? To maybe to your children, maybe to your husband or wife or colleagues or co-workers, whoever it is. You get the anger to your mind and then you start to speak, right? Never do that. You need to be kind to the people. You need to have the compassion inside you. With that, you can do a great job, right? You can heal others' hearts. And also, you can correct the mistakes of people successfully. So, you need to use your word wisely and properly, because your words can change the lives of people. Words are so powerful, it can make people, and also in the same way, it can break people. Therefore, when you show the mistakes to people, you need to speak kindly, gently, and in the proper time, with a mind of love and kindness. So try this out and see the difference of your life. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. In today's video, let's talk about how to control these emotions of anger. Well, anger itself is a natural human emotion. We all feel angry. But if we do not know how to control this emotion, if we do not know how to deal with anger, sometimes it can be destructive. And if we let that anger to control over our life, we will get into lots of troubles. So today, I'm going to introduce you a little practice that you can practice in your practical life to deal with this emotion. Well, first of all, I have to remember none of these practices are easy. In fact, nothing in life that brings us the happiness, that brings the peacefulness to your life is not an easy task. It is a difficult one. Though it is difficult, we cannot abandon it because we like to be happy and we like to be peaceful in our life. So that is why Buddha said that everything that brings the happiness to your life is a difficult task. So what are the things that we can do to deal with these emotions of anger? Well, the first and the foremost thing that you can do to deal with these emotions is to acknowledge that your thoughts are in anger. If you don't know your thoughts are in anger, you cannot deal with it. So this includes the mindfulness, right? Whenever you are about to get angry, whenever you feel that you are triggered by this anger, just ask this question: what am I thinking now? In which mode my thoughts are in now, right? Whenever you ask that question and whenever you answer it, you can find, oh, I'm about to get angry now. Now my thoughts are in anger. That is the first step, to know that you are angry. Then it comes to the second step, right? So in this second step, if you look at this, if I ask a question from you, whenever you feel angry, imagine a situation that you have felt angry about something or someone, right? How your breathing pattern works. How our breathing pattern changes when we feel angry. It speeds up and we take short breaths, right? So that gives the sign to our body, that gives the message to our body that now you're ready for getting angry. You're breathing heavily, we are breathing in short periods, and we are breathing speedily. So the first thing that you can do is to slow down your breathing pattern. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Take another deep breath in and let it down. Slowing down the breathing pattern will help you to calm your body and calm your mind, right? Whenever we feel calm and when we are about to take a rest, what is the thing that we do? For an example, after a long day of work, when you come home and after having a good shower, if you fell on the couch, right? If you fell on the bed, what is the first thing that you do? You take a deep breath in and let it out. That is the thing that you do. That means you are giving the signal to your body that you are about to get calm or to have a rest. So the thing that we have to do, whenever we feel angry, whenever we feel we panicked, just give the message to your body that be calm by taking 2 to 3 deep breaths in and out, right? So breathing can help you a lot. Then as the third step, now you're a little bit peaceful and calming. Now you can wisely reflect on your thought pattern. When you reflect about your thoughts, you can find, why did I become angry with this person? What is that? then you can find that anger does not prevail in an outer world, in that person or that thing, a specific thing. Anger prevails in my mind, right? It is something that I have created. Whenever you come to a situation that you are triggered to be angry, you come up with these two choices, either to react with negativity or to respond with positivity. That is up to you, right? And your experiences and your good and bad experiences depends on these choices that you make. So you totally have the power and you totally have the privilege to respond with positivity, right? So you have to believe in patience for that. Remember, there is nothing in this world, there is no problem in this world that has been solved with anger. That is why Buddha said, anger does not cease by anger, or hatred does not cease by hatred. Hatred is seized by love and kindness only. So you have to believe in patience and compassion and forgiveness. That is the way that you are going to solve the problem, right? Though you react in anger, though you yell out or scream or take actions with anger, that is not going to help. That is not going to solve the problem. It will make the problem even more worse. I have seen lots of people who could not control their anger for a split second. Just because they could not control their anger for a split second, now they are regretting for their whole life. So remember, anger is not going to help you. So when you believe in patience and kindness and compassion, you will have this strength to face that situation more positively. Remember what Buddha said. The Buddha said, before you do something from your body, from your speech, or from your mind, just wisely reflect that what I'm going to do, is this worthy of doing? Is it bringing happiness to myself, or is it bringing happiness to others? Is it going to hurt others, or is it going to hurt myself? If it is hurting you and if it is hurting to other self, do not try to do it. Remember, it is okay that we feel angry sometimes in our mind, but it is not okay to let that anger to flow out from our bodily actions and our words, right? So remember, this is how we can control it. Always believe in patience and kindness. That is where you're gonna solve the problems. So this is a little practice where we can deal with these emotions of anger. So practice these practices little by little and make your life a peaceful one. Namo Buddhaya. The sun rises from the east, and without stopping, it moves towards the west, and it sets in the evening. It is also like our life. We were born to this world, and from that day onwards, without stopping, we are moving towards the death. You and I are not dead yet, but we are dying without stopping. So today, let's talk about this important topic that many people doesn't like to talk about, the death. Well, most of us are scared of death. When you're in your families, when you're in your family with your family members, if you talk about death, what will happen? They will say that they will be offended, first of all, and they will say, no, you should not talk about death. Don't say that. So for ages and ages, death has been considered as something negative, something that is pessimistic, or something that people think that it is making our life very sad and sorrow and suffering. But in fact, the death is a very good teacher for all of us. And that is why the Buddha said, think about the death. Do not dodge that idea. Once our great teacher Supreme Buddha said, whether you are a male or a female, or a normal person, or a monk, or whoever you are, you have to think that you are a dying person. You are mortal and you are not escaped from death. That is what Buddha said. Why we should think about death? Why we should concentrate on our death? Well, is it making our life suffering, or is it make our life very negative? No. It is not the death that makes our life suffering or negative. It is the perspective that we are holding on to death makes us negative. So remember, we all should concentrate on our death and think about it. Always we have to think that I am a dying person. Today, I can face the death. There are many chances for that. So when we think about that, Buddha said, it says and it tells you, the death tells you that, hey, you have an expire date. You're not going to live forever on this world. No? You have a little time on this earth. So before you meet your death, you have to be a good person. You have to cultivate more good qualities in your life. You have to spread the love and affection and compassion towards this world, because that is why we are here for. So in this limited time, we have to do that. We have to cultivate more good qualities in our life, right? We have to be a good person to this world, because that will leave beautiful memories in the people's hearts. The Buddha said that people are intoxicated with their life, right? People think that they are not going to die. We often do not feel that we are going to die, do we? No. We think that we are going to live for the next day and to the next day. We have so many plans in our life, right? But from a split second, within a split second, everything can change. Okay? So that is why Buddha said, people are intoxicated with life, and when they are intoxicated with life, what happens to you? You tend to do, and you are going to do the bad things or evil things from your body, from your speech, and from your mind. But if a person who is reminding his death, if a person who is reminding that to himself that I'm going to die one day, he knows that at any time he can die, right? So he knows that I have a little time on this earth, so before I meet my death, I have to add more good qualities to my life. So that is what the death teaches us. So do not be afraid to death. Why? Because we all face the death one day, in one way or another. No one can escape it. No one can run away from it. So that is a reality. So why not we think about it and make our minds strong to face that with a happy mind, in a successful way. So that is why the Buddha said to concentrate on death. So whenever you are possible, and every morning, think that today I might die. So if I'm going to die today, what are the things that I should do? I should give more love to my people around me. I should help them. Because at the end, these materialistic things that you are holding on to is not going to help you. Only the good qualities will help you on your way. So think about the death. Do not be afraid of it. Because when you think about the death, your life will be more and more successful. Keep that in mind. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another episode. In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you some thoughts of the Buddha about praise and blame. Now, when we think about our life, when people criticize us, when people blame us, what is our normal reaction? we feel angry about ourselves in the first place. And we tend to hate that person, of course. And also we feel sad in the same time. This is our normal reaction. And in the other hand, when people praises us, what is our reaction? We feel so much happy. We tend to think like, I'm the best. Well, Buddha teaches us these things are two extremes. Becoming too much happy when people praises you is one extreme. Becoming too much sad when people criticizes you is another extreme. So what do we have to do in such situations? The Buddha says, you have to maintain a moderate mind in such situations. So how to do that? Well, let me tell you a nice story about how Buddha dealt with such a situation. One day, while the Buddha was walking down the street with a group of monks, two people came behind the Buddha and they started talking each other. One was praising the Buddha. One was saying so much good qualities and good things about the Buddha, and the other person started blaming the Buddha. He started criticizing the Buddha. But in that case, in that instance, Buddha didn't react to such things. What he did was he kept walking. He went his journey. And in the other day, the monks gathered around and they were discussing about the incident that had happened in the last day. They were talking, it's really amazing that these two people came up to us and one was praising and in the same instance, the other one also criticizing us. We got the blame and the praise in the same time. Isn't that wonderful? Then while these monks was talking about this, the Buddha came to that place and said, what are you talking about? Then the monks said, oh, Venerable Sir, we were talking about the incident that was happened yesterday. Then the Buddha said, dear monks, when someone criticizes you, maybe when someone criticizes about the Buddha or his teachings or his followers about you, you should not be angry with them. You should not be displeased with them. Why? Then the Buddha said, if you become angry, if your mind is covered with anger, what is happening within you is you lose the ability to decide whether that criticism or whether that blame is true or false. You cannot understand about that because your mind is covered with anger. Anger has overcome your mind. So with an angry mind, you cannot decide what is good or bad. So in that case, Buddha taught us, you should not be angry. And you should wisely reflect about what he or she is telling us. Whether that bad quality or whether that criticism, whether that fault is within us or not. You have to think like that. Right? If that fault or if that mistake is within you, then what do you have to do? You have to correct it. Make it correct. Develop your life. So that is one thing that you have to do. And if there is no such thing, or if that person is falsely accusing you, if there is no such mistake inside your mind, inside your life, and still that person is criticizing you, what do you have to do? Just let that go. Don't care about that because it is not in your life. You should not be angry. That is one thing that you have to do. When you practice in a such way, what happens to you is you maintain a moderate mind. You're not going to an extreme. You're not becoming too much angry. You're not feeling too much sad about yourself. That is one thing that we can do. And in the other hand, when people praises us, we become too much happy. The Buddha said, no, you should not be too much happy about that. The Buddha said, when someone praises you, when someone says good things about you, what you have to do? Don't be too much happy, because when you become too much happy, it also acts as a hindrance to your mind. When you become overjoyed, you lose your ability to realize or find what is good or what is bad, whether that good thing is within my mind or not. You have to wisely reflect about your life. Is that good thing, is that good quality is within my mind or within my life? Am I doing that good thing or not? If you're doing that good thing, you don't want to be too much happy, because it is already inside your life. You're doing that, right? So in that way, you're not becoming too much happy about the things, right? So these are the two extremes. When we bring our mind to the moderate way, not becoming too much happy, not becoming too much sad, then you can maintain a peaceful mind. Then you will not think about anyone or think about yourself that I am the best in the world. Because when people praises you, you think like, okay, I'm the best in here, right? That is not being humble. That is something like a swollen-headed person do, right? And the other hand, when people criticizes us, what you have to do, we should not be too much sad, right? If it is wrong, if the fault is within us, we have to correct it. And if the fault is not within us, just ignore it. That is what you have to do. So these are the thoughts of the Buddha about praise and blame. So practice this moderate mind whenever you are facing the praise and the blame in your life. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm going to introduce you to the most famous Buddhist text in this world. Now, if you are new to Buddhism and if you'd like to learn more about Buddhism, this is one of the best books that you can read. So, the book's name is Dhammapada. Now, what is Dhammapada? Dhammapada is a set of verses that was originally preached by the Buddha himself, and this Dhammapada contains 423 verses in it, and these 423 verses are divided into 26 chapters. So why Dhammapada is important? You know, for Hindus we have Gita, and in Christianity we have Bible, and in Islam we have Quran. Same like that, to the Buddhist world we have Dhammapada. Now, Dhammapada is not the only text that we have to learn Buddhism. There are many texts, but this is called as the Handbook of Buddhists. Why it is called as Handbook of Buddhists? If you went through 2-3 random pages and if you read on 2-3 verses, you can learn many life advices. You can learn many Dhamma facts about life. So that is why it is called the Handbook of Buddhists. So that is why it is widely used, and this is the most famous Buddhist text in this world. So as an example, if you turn to a random page and if you read a verse, you can find something very valuable. Let's go for that. So in 236th verse, the Buddha says, "Make an island for yourself. Strive hard and become wise. Get rid of impurities and cleanse of stain. You shall enter the celestial abode of the noble ones." It goes like that. So if you turn to another random page and if you read a verse, it goes like this. "The good shine even more afar, like the Himalayan mountain. But the wicked are unseen like the arrows shot in the night. So if you turn to random pages and if you read, you can gain many life advices and many valuable Dhamma facts. So that is why we have to use this Dhammapada. If you are interested in using this Dhammapada, I will link down some links below that you can find Dhammapada and read it online also. And also there are some links that you can download the PDF file links down below. So this is the importance of Dhammapada, and that is why it is known as the most famous Buddhist books in this world. So that is the end of this little introduction video. So I hope you found something very valuable to your life. So practice Dhamma and practice good deeds. So I wish you all, may all of you be well and happy forever. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to yet another episode in Buddhist meditation series. In today's video, we are going to discuss about a major problem that many meditators face while doing the meditation: the background noises. So how can we deal with these annoying background noises? Well, there are so many things that you can do to deal with these background noises. Suppose you are living in a noisy environment. Sometimes you don't have the ability to go to a monastery or go to a quiet place and do the meditation. Sometimes you have to do in your apartment. Maybe you're living in the roadside, so you have to do the meditation. When you're living in these noisy environments, when you do the meditation, normally our focus and our attention is dragged by these background noises. So how can we deal with these things? Well, there are a few things that you can do. First of all, you have to know there are two types of noises. The first type of noise is the noises that doesn't prevail for a long time. It just come and go. Okay, maybe the sound of a vehicle, maybe a sound a dog is barking, or maybe a sound of an animal. So it doesn't prevail for a long time. And there are some noises, that is the second type of noise, is there are some noises that prevails for a long time. It may be a machinery noise, it may be someone is banging to a nail from a hammer, so it prevails for a long time. So you have to act and you have to deal differently in these two circumstances. First of all, let's learn how to deal with the noises that doesn't prevail for a long time, right? So suppose you are meditating. For an example, you are doing the breathing meditation. You are focusing on your breathing pattern. So all of a sudden you hear a loud noise, right? Now, right at the moment you heard the noise, it vanishes away, right? It doesn't prevail for a long time. So for a split second, your mind jumps out from your focus and it wanders in that noise, thinking about what was that noise, what has happened, right? So you have, first of all, you have to be aware that your mind is not in the meditation, right? You have to know that. Don't chase behind that noise. Don't chase behind that thought, right? So once you become aware that I heard a noise, now my mind is not in the meditation. Now I have to bring back to the meditation. So you just bring back your mind and distracted mind to the meditation again. Okay? So that is how you deal with the noises that prevails for a shorter time period. So let's think that the noise is prevailing for a long time, right? Now how can we deal with that? Well, first of all, when you're meditating, now in the same way, when you're meditating, you heard the noise. Now it is going to prevail for a long time. Right at the moment when you hear that noise, right, you start to fight with that noise. That is what most of the people are doing, right? They think that, oh, this sound is annoying, now it is disturbing me, now how can I do the meditation? All the times when I'm doing the meditation, this sound comes up. Now you're trying to fight with the sound. Don't fight with the sound, right? There's a saying, it says, what you resist persists. That means if you are resisting something, right? If you are rejecting something from your mind, chances are very high for it to come and haunt your mind again and again. So don't fight with the noise, right? Instead, you just listen to that noise for a little while, right? Suppose the machine started working. Now you hear the noise and you think that it is annoying, right? Don't try to fight with that, right? Don't try to be upset, because you cannot control the noises. These things are out of our control. You have to know that, right? So what you have to do, don't try to focus on the meditation again and again. Like, don't try to force your mind. First of all, what you have to do, just listen to that noise, right? Listen to that machinery noise for a little while, maybe 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes, 5 minutes. It doesn't matter, right? Take your time. When you listen to that noise, when you be with that noise, it becomes a normal experience for you. The more you reject that noise, it becomes new and new again and again for you. So what you have to do, just be with that noise, listen to it for a little while. After it becomes normal noise for you, what you have to do, bring back your mind to the meditation again, right? So after doing that, it becomes a normal noise, so you can focus your mind to the meditation correctly. So that is what you have to do when you are dealing with the noises that prevails for a long time. Now remember, when you are well focused to something, right? When you enjoy something, the distractions, the noises that prevails in the environment doesn't bother you. For an example, when you listen to your favorite song, do you hear any background noises? No. Why is that? Because your mind is well focused to that, you are enjoying it, all the senses are into that song. So same goes with the meditation. Once you enjoy your meditation, once your mind is well focused to it, the background noises is not going to bother you. So what you have to do, just listen to those noises, be with them, be friendly with them, don't hurt yourself, right? Because you have to know that these noises, the things that are happening in the environment, cannot be controlled by yourself. They are out of your control. So what you have to do, when you feel and when you hear the distractions, bring back your distracted mind to the meditation again and again. And that is how we deal with the distractive noises while doing the meditation. So practice the meditation and enjoy a peaceful life. Namo Buddhaya.